Just thought I'd do a little post about the Chris Eubank fight and Nick Blackwell fight last night. Just going to talk about the build up to it. If you want me to be honest, a lot of people say that Chris Eubank prior to the fight has fantastic stamina and a great engine. And when I saw him in his fight against Spike O'Sullivan and Billy Joe Saunders, I don't know, he looked a bit tired. I think when he fought Spike O'Sullivan, his pace was very high end. So I think he used up a lot of energy in the Spike O'Sullivan fight, and he looked a bit sloppy. And when he fought Billy Joe Saunders, he didn't pretty much fight for the first 5-6 rounds, but he gave it everything he had the last part of the fight. But even then, he looked a bit tired. And I thought that Nick Blackwell had a better engine going into this fight. I thought he might have had a better engine. So I thought that if Eubank got tired, then Nick Blackwell was going to kind of put a lot of pressure on him and potentially not stop him. But I think that's what people were expecting, because Billy Joe Saunders was saying things like, Chris Eubank is going to get knocked out. And I think they were expecting that Blackwell to put on a lot of pressure at the end and maybe get a stoppage. But in terms of the pace of the fight, like I said, when he fought Billy Joe Saunders and Spike O'Sullivan, it was the pace. I think he was still, the pace of the fight. He didn't set the pace well. But when he fought Nick Blackwell, I think he set the pace very well. He was, he was jabbing, using his jab well. He was quite tentative the first couple of rounds and using the jab and boxing and not using up a lot of energy. But then when he got confident, he started throwing those combinations, the 2s, the 3s, 4s, uppercuts. And the uppercuts were just lethal. And, he was kind of throwing the uppercuts and coming out. He wasn't staying in the pocket too long. But then obviously as the fight went on and he was growing in confidence, he was staying in the pocket and throwing those combinations and leaving himself open and in danger. And I think if he was to fight at a top level, then he could potentially get exposed. And I think Tyson Fury, I don't know what was going on at ringside, but Tyson Fury and Billy Joe Saunders were winding him up, and he looked at them and he kind of started throwing loads of crazy shots and leaving himself open, and he can't let his emotions get to him like that. But overall, I think it was a very good performance from Blackwell. He took a lot of punishment and he didn't go down, and a great performance by Chris Eubank. So we're talking about the Adam Booth situation. So maybe the rumors were true about Adam Booth not being in his stable anymore because he wasn't at fight night, and I think that pretty much confirms it. But I think personally the stoppage was far too late. I think in the 7th round, Chris Eubank caught him with so many shots, unanswered shots, and I personally, as a referee, would have jumped in and stopped it there and then. We've seen fights stopped for less. And in the 8th round, again, it should have been stopped, but they let it carry on. And I think it was ridiculous. Your trainers in the background, you've got experienced trainers in the background, throw in the towel. What were you waiting for? The referee should have stopped the fight. This is what I think, okay? This is what I think. Personally, I think Hennessy Promotions, okay, they promote Tyson Fury. They're in with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, he's with Billy Joe Saunders. They stick together. Billy Joe Saunders hates Chris Eubank. So I'm thinking, did they want to prolong the fight? Did they want to prolong the fight because they so badly wanted to see Chris Eubank beat? Did they use Nick Blackwell as a guinea pig? And I think potentially they could have done in this case. And I think to the detriment of Nick Blackwell. And I think it was a really, really bad stoppage. What was the ref and those trainers thinking? And even Chris Eubank was banging on the side of the canvas saying to the referee, stop the fight. And they didn't stop it. And it just it's a bit annoying, and it kind of takes the limelight away from Chris Eubank's victory, because now we've got Chris Eubank and they've had to induce the coma due to blood in the skull. So it wasn't a brain just from the skull. There was a blood leak or whatever you want to call it. But I think the fight should have been stopped. I think it was a good performance from Chris Eubank. I think he has a lot to sort of answer for when he steps up to world level. I think he could potentially get exposed. But as it stands, the fight should have been stopped in the 7th or the 8th round. But at the moment, all the thoughts and prayers go with Nick Blackwell, and we will hope he pulls through. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe.